CRB 101. My name is Faris Kiama, in charge of customers disputes and complaints here at Metropole CRB KCB Towers 15th floor. Today we are going to talk about SACCO sector in credit information sharing mechanism, CIS, and with us today is our manager in charge of SACCO sector. She will introduce herself going forward. Karibu sana Ann.
Asante sana Faris, and I think Faris has already introduced me, but let me take this opportunity to introduce myself. Personally, my name is Ann Nyambura. I'm heading business development, particularly SACCO sector. Yeah. So we are here based at Upper Hill, as Faris has said, PCB Towers, 15th floor, and that's our main objective as a unit, is to help SACCOs to mitigate risk and of course give good dividends to the members and be more profitable.
Today, our viewers and our customers, we want you to understand the SACCO sector within the CRB mechanism. We want you to understand how listing of SACCO members happens, the pros, the cons, the reasons why this happens, and maybe we need to understand where the SACCO sector comes in when you're talking about the CIS. And Anne, maybe you can give us a brief description of the sectors that are involved in this mechanism, CIS.
Okay. Let me mention that CIS mechanism, as Faris has mentioned, it is a mechanism that is to help the credit providers to exchange information of their customers. So this mechanism, it is regulated by CBK, and this mechanism is done through an institution called the CRB. So CRB is simply an institution that stores information that is shared by the credit providers in the database, so that when they want to lend, the credit providers want to lend, they're able to reference and to check the credit information for members, and then they're able to make an informed decision. So SACCOs are very unique institutions. Knowing that SACCOs have their own model, which is member-driven. So any policy that is done through the SACCO or to the SACCO must be done by the member, even the voting and the everything. So being that they have their model where if a member wants to take a loan, they guarantee by themselves. Guarantorship is the main collateral for the SACCO. So by having now rolling out the CIS mechanism to the SACCO sector, it will help the SACCOs to, of course, mitigate risk, by which is when somebody is not able to meet the obligation as a member, they are listed. And some of these people who are listed, is not an issue of maybe lacking the money to pay or to make repayment. It is just an issue of character. So by the mechanism in place in the SACCO sector, it helps them to mitigate that part of the risk, which is, of course, being in the SACCO sector. And one of the challenges that is affecting the SACCO sector is default. Number 2 is default. Number 3 is default. How do we come around this? How do we make sure that the SACCO is more profitable? So I would want to encourage every SACCO to join the mechanism so that they're able to enjoy the benefits that come with the mechanism.
Thank you, Anne. There are different kind of SACCOs. There are some SACCOs where you'll find them in the village or in an informal setup. There are other SACCOs that are quite formal with a setup. There are others that are in between them. Could you please explain to us the types of SACCOs, and do we accept listing from all these SACCOs, or we only accept listing from some SACCOs depending on their classification?
Okay. It's true that we have types of SACCOs, or rather types of cooperatives. One of them is the Savings and Credit Cooperative. The other one is a marketing cooperative. The other one is a consumer cooperative. The other one is a transport cooperative and investment cooperative. In particular, as a bureau, because we deal with credit providers, we only deal with savings and credit, meaning this is a type of a cooperative that helps the member to save. Then after a duration maybe of 3 to 6 months, they're able to advance a loan. So that is the type of cooperative that we deal with the bureau, because they advance loans to members, and this is their primary objective. So that is what we deal with, and the rest of the types of cooperatives, they don't engage per se with the credit. Yeah.
Thank you. And we have understanding that there are some SACCOs that are regulated by some authorities. Others are not that much regulated. Could you please explain to us which SACCOs are regulated and what are the circumstances under which such SACCOs can be classified as regulated and by who?
Okay. SACCOs are classified into three. Number one, it is the FOSA, the front office SACCOs, which are called deposit-taking SACCOs. And deposit-taking SACCOs are SACCOs which operate a front office. Simply, it means that they have a bank services in their front office, meaning you can save and you can withdraw. However, these SACCOs, most of them, a member has to be a member of the BOSA, the back office, to be a member of the FOSA, to access the FOSA services. Most of them, actually all of them, you have to be a member of the BOSA so that you are able to access the FOSA. Number two, there are SACCOs which are regulated by SASRA, which are called the non-withdrawable SACCOs. These are SACCOs that have attained a capital base of 100 million. And these SACCOs are regulated by SASRA because their capital base is a bit larger than the other which are called the BOSAs. And this came up through a discussion by the ministry that most cooperatives, the tea cooperatives and the transport cooperatives, are not able, they are mismanaged. So that is why now SASRA came in to regulate even the tea, the coffee, and any other cooperative that has a deposit of has a share capital of more than 100 million. So we have another set of unique SACCOs which are called the BOSAs. BOSAs, these are SACCOs which operate the back office services, in which if you want to withdraw, you have to leave the membership of the SACCO so that they are able to refund to you your savings or your savings or your contribution in the SACCO. So as Metropole, we are plugging in every SACCO that is within the three categories. Every institution that falls within the FOSA, the non-withdrawable, and the BOSA, they are our target market.
Thank you, Anne. You have talked about non-withdrawable deposit-taking SACCOs, and you have said they are regulated by SASRA. Could you maybe explain to our viewers who is SASRA, and is SASRA an equal regulator, just like the Central Bank of Kenya, the way the Central Bank regulates banks? Does that mean that SASRA is an equivalent when it comes to the regulation of SACCOs?
Now, SASRA, it is an institution that regulates SACCOs, supervises SACCO, and of course does monthly inspections to SACCOs. So let me SASRA is the CBK, but they particularly deal with SACCOs who take deposits, number one. Number two, SACCOs which have attained a minimum share capital of 100 million.
Thank you, Anne. Now, when it comes to listing the CRB, what kind of data or what type of data is it reported to the CRB by either of these SACCOs?
This is very, very important. Thank you, Faris, for asking that good question. Information that is shared in the CRB, it is credit information. And this information entails the positive information and the negative information.
Now, what is negative information and what is positive information, and what is the benefit of either of these being reported to the CRB?
Okay. Negative information, this is information that is shared in the Bureau, which entails the non-performing accounts of a member. So if you have a non-performing loan, that information is shared to the Bureau as a as what we call a non-performing loan, and it is negative listing. Let me go to the second one, which is positive listing. If you usually pay your loans on time and you pay well, this information will be shared in the Bureau as positive. And it is important for SACCOs and maybe members to realize that positive listing is important to the Bureau because that data is used even to create what we call the credit scores. So when the SACCOs shares information or any financial institution shares positive information, it empowers you as a member so that you are able even to negotiate a loan even further. So as you are a member, please go to your SACCO, tell them to share your information, your good information in the Bureau, so that you are able even to empower yourself as a member of the SACCO.
When you talk about non-performing loan, is that the one that has already been defaulted or otherwise? And when you talk about positive listing, is that the one that is currently being paid very well, showing that you are of good character? Can you please explain to our viewers the exact meaning of that non-performing loan?
Okay, as I've mentioned earlier, non-performing loan is an account which has not been paid or is not paid on time. If you take a loan as a member in a SACCO, let me say Kenya Police SACCO, Kenya National Police SACCO, and you don't pay this loan on time, and you don't pay the loan, of course, Kenya Police will share your information with the Bureau as what we call a negative listing or what we call negative information. But if you pay your loan promptly and you pay it, of course, promptly and you pay it, this information will be shared with the Bureau as positive, and which is called the performing an account to the Bureau. So it is important for members to know this information because when you get your credit report, this is one of the information that is very, very critical, and it is used by a bank to make